All right, so are we good to go? Can you guys hear me? Let's see if this is working. For the love of God and everything that is holy, let us make sure that this is working. Let's see. Well, what do we think? What do we think? Well, there we go. We're in the house. I think we are good. Okay. So can you guys let me know if I'm coming across okay? Just in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear and see me. Okay, so I think, so again, guys, I apologize for this ridiculous delay. I'm on my laptop. All right, so I'm gonna speak a little bit louder. I don't think I need these. Is that coming across better, guys? Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. So here we go. We're only 20 minutes behind schedule this evening, so I feel like I'm in airlines here. So I want to thank you for taking the time. Our chat is completely full. I know this is a 20-minute delay is very unusual for me. I'm very punctual usually. So thank you once again for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to bring your tired hormones back to life. We're going to go for, I'm going to kind of speed through this stuff in about 20 minutes. And then I want to open up the rest of this call, 20, 25 minutes or so after that, for FAQs. I want to do some Q&As. I want to get your questions answered as best I possibly can. So there we go. So the chat is open. I believe we're maxed out, just about maxed out. If you have any questions, you can pop them in there. I'm not going to answer them right away, but I'll get to them as we get to the Q&A portion of this live training. And if you can't post, if you're watching this and you can't post a comment in the chat, then by all means go into the blog section, the comments underneath all this, and just type in a question or comment, how much you love me, or if you have a specific question that I can answer, then I will refresh the blog and I'll get to those questions. So without any further ado, we are going to go right into it. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time this evening. I know it's it might be late or early depending on where you are. And I want to go over 3 ways to kind of bring some of those really important hormones back to life. And I want to start off by first saying that I'm really no different than you. Okay, so other than the fact that I'm a man and you might be a woman, I want to let you know that, I'm not that much, I'm no different. I'm not superior. I'm not this like guru that should be put on a pedestal. All I've really done is I've gone through my own challenges, throughout my life, and I've learned things along the way. And I've seen patterns, and I've developed strategies, and what may seem as quick fixes, but are really sustainable health improvements that I'm here to share with you. So I want you to know that we're on the same page. Okay, we're on the same level. I'm just maybe a little bit, maybe one step ahead because I've gone through a lot of this journey already and kind of figured some stuff out, and I'm here to serve you and give you all of my goods. Okay, so that's why I'm doing these live trainings, because I love doing video and I love connecting with each and every one of you to first and foremost show you that I actually care, because I do care about your success. That's why I'm taking time out of my evening. My kids are in bed, so there shouldn't be any craziness, and I want to give you the goods. So with that said, the second thing is I just want to kind of paint a picture here for you that a lot of you on the call might be new, because obviously we're doing this, our big kind of book launch this week, and we have a lot of new people in our community. So I want to really quickly run through my nightmare story, how it all started. When I was very young, I had really bad digestive issues, really bad asthma, really bad eczema, to the point where I was embarrassed to even show my hands in public because they looked like reptile-like skin. So I would wear gloves on the bus in the summertime because I was embarrassed to kind of show my skin. I had very low energy, so such low energy that I was sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night and really not feeling refreshed at all. So I was falling asleep on the couch after dinner and just really feeling blah all the time. So that all culminated when I was 17 into one night. I got home from soccer practice and I was washing my hair, and I noticed I had a clump of hair in my hand. And I've said to myself, I'm like, wow, that's not normal. Because before that, I had a real, thick, head of hair. The next morning, I woke up and I had hair on my pillow. And within about 6 weeks, I had lost all my hair. So I developed an autoimmune condition called alopecia. And the doctors had no solutions, they had no answers. And I share that with you because, I went through a period of my life where I felt kind of really isolated because I was, people were now looking at me. This is my senior year of high school. I was now being looked at as if I had just gone through chemotherapy. So really kind of weird looks and, people talking behind your back and stuff. And so I went through a period that was a little bit rough in my kind of mid to late teens. When I was 25, I was gone back to school to study holistic nutrition. And within the first day, I realized after speaking to some of my nutrition professors who are naturopathic doctors and so forth, that my diet and toxicity were big, big culprits of my autoimmune condition and everything else. So anyways, long story short, I was able to overcome all those issues. The hair came back, although as you can see, it's now gone. 3 years ago, I think with the birth of our first son, that kind of flared things up again and it started falling out, but it's all good. I feel great. And if it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, hey, it's all good. So the thing I want you to recognize is that low energy is your body's way of screaming for help. Okay, low energy is a warning sign that something inside of you is not right. And for me, low energy meant I had really bad eczema, skin issues, breathing problems, digestive issues, and all of that eventually culminated in an autoimmune condition. So we're going to talk about autoimmunity tonight a little bit in respect to one of the hormones we're going to discuss. And let's get into it. So the first hormone that I'm going to talk about 3 hormones tonight. And we're going to look, I'm going to talk about 2 hormones and then one really important organ. And we're going to start with that very specific and very important organ. And it's called your liver. Now your liver is really important because it's the processing plant. It's the customs agent, like Border Patrol, for dealing with everything that comes into your body. So when you eat food, understand this. Food goes into your stomach, into your digestive system, and what ends up happening is that before any of those nutrients can get into your bloodstream, they must first go to your liver. So your liver is this processing plant where it says yes to this, no to that. And it's a very, very important organ that we have because otherwise we just have a ton of toxins coming into our body. But here's the problem. Because of the world we live in, which is highly toxic, the foods we eat are, as you know, not the best because most of us are eating a standard American diet, not getting the nutrients that we require, and it's really wearing us down. So the liver is really important. And here's how it relates to hormones. Now, here's the thing I want you to kind of understand as a framework. If you're dealing with thyroid issues, adrenal, estrogen, kind of female hormones, male testosterone type things, insulin, whatever hormone might be at play, and if you don't know, that's okay, but whatever the hormone is that might be a little bit out of whack, ultimately it comes down to the health of the liver, at least partly. And we'll talk about some other components and some how to resolve some of those issues. So the liver is really important because, for instance, if you have too much estrogen in your body, known as estrogen dominance, this is very common nowadays because of all the xenoestrogens or the fake estrogens in our water supply and our food supply and through medications. The liver will take all that excess estrogen and convert it to a non-toxic form, if you want to think of it like that, and excrete the excess. But if your liver is not working properly, or if it's overburdened, if it's too toxic, it's not able to metabolize all of that extra estrogen. So if you have too much estrogen in your body, that becomes an issue because estrogen is a pro-growth hormone. And estrogen, too much estrogen, is linked to cancerous growth, as well as anything to do with growth. Estrogen has a part to play in that. So we want to keep estrogen levels at bay. And this goes for men as well, not just for women. So I want to give you a couple ways to keep your liver happy. And now we'll start with that. So first and foremost is to drink plenty of water, because water is really the ultimate kind of flushing system throughout your body. It's like when you flush the toilet and you see all that water flush things down. That's essentially what drinking water does for your liver, but also for your bloodstream, for your cells. And it's really important to remember that nothing happens independently of anything else inside your body. If you're helping your liver, you're going to help your kidneys, you're going to help your digestive system, you're going to help every single one of the trillions of cells in your body. Okay, so drinking plenty of water, you're looking at getting in about half of your body weight in pounds, divide that by 2, and that's how many ounces you want to drink. Okay, so I'm just going to type this into the chat. Okay, so if I weigh, I don't even know how much I weigh. Sorry, it's, I just slipped my mind. Half your body weight in pounds is 100, sorry, that's, yeah. So there we go. It is in pounds. I'm sorry, I just, it's late at night. So I weigh 165 pounds. If we divide that by 2, that's roughly, let's call it 80 ounces. 80 ounces is about 2.5 liters. Okay, so that's roughly how much water you want to have on a day-to-day basis. That's the first thing. Second is you want to get exercise. Okay, exercise is really important because it gets your muscles moving, and your muscles act as kind of pumps. They constrict and they relax not just the muscles, but the blood vessels and the lymph around them. The lymph tissue is kind of like the sewage system in your body. So by movement, you help to get a lot of the junk out, and that's going to help reduce the burden on your liver. The second thing with exercise is that if you exercise at a good enough intensity, you will be sweating. Okay, and sweat is one of the best ways to get rid of toxins because did you know that your skin is your body's biggest organ? The skin is a full-on organ, and when you sweat, you get rid of a lot of toxins that are normally built up inside your body. Okay, so you want to sweat. The other thing you can do is actually spend more time, for instance, in a sauna, like an infrared sauna or a sauna, just a dry sauna, where you're going to be sweating out things a little bit more often. That's a really cool thing to do on a regular basis. Next is you want to make sure that you have enough good quality bowel movements throughout the day. 2 to 3 bowel movements. Ideally when you wake up in the morning, and then before you go to bed at night is kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum is where you want to have your bowel movements, but also you want to have maybe 1 or 2 during the day. They should be well formed, there should be no explosive diarrhea, and if you're constipated, where is all that junk going? All this food is coming in, but if it's not going out, where is it going? And that becomes an issue where we start developing something called auto-intoxication, where if all this stuff is stuck in our intestinal system, all of those food substances can now be fed on by bacteria and yeast like candida, and all of those give off their own kind of nasty byproducts. So you want to consider that because it's something to remember, because when we bring food in, we want to eliminate a good portion of it out. Our body only holds on to what it needs, and we get rid of the rest. Okay? So those are a couple things to keep in mind with keeping your liver healthy. The other thing also is to remember that there's a lot of cleanses out there. There's a lot of cleanse kits and different things that can help liver detoxification. But at the end of the day, your liver requires specific nutrients to operate as it should. So it goes through a 2-phase detoxification process. Whenever like a fat-soluble toxin comes in, it goes through phase 1, goes through a bunch of stuff, goes into phase 2, goes through a bunch of stuff, and then it's rendered into a less harmful toxin, which is then shuttled over to the kidneys, and the kidneys then get rid of it in your urine. So in order for all of that to happen, your liver requires very specific nutrients like the B vitamins, vitamin C, glutathione, which is the most important antioxidant inside your body. There's a bunch of other kind of sulfur-containing nutrients that are derived, for instance, from cruciferous vegetables. Okay, so like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. You want to ensure that you're getting good quality foods into your body because, in addition to all their other amazing benefits, is they're giving your liver the specific requirements in terms of nutrients that it needs to detoxify excess hormones, other things, to get that out of your body. Now, just as an anecdotal story here, we have a program called the Total Wellness Cleanse. And this program it's a 100% food-based cleanse that we developed several years ago. And the reason we developed it is to help individuals like yourself, and for like a lot of our clients when we used to work one-on-one, to give them a very simple, structured plan to help them with their food, right? Because if you can eat better foods, naturally, it's going to help get stuff out of your body. It's going to clean yourself out. And we've had a lot of women around menopausal age and premenopause, like really all age groups. And the one most consistent finding that we found with a lot of them is a reduction in menopausal symptoms. If they're younger and they have PMS type symptoms, a lot of that goes away as well. And the reason for that, one of the big reasons, is because we're helping clean the liver up by improving the quality of nutrition. So don't underestimate the power of foods. And remember, all of this comes back to your energy. If you're feeling great, that's an indication that things inside of your body, hormonally, in your organs and your cells, are working as they should, or at least close to as they should. Okay, let's move on. So any questions with the liver? Are we good with that? Does that make sense, guys? Just gonna give you guys a second to digest that, no pun intended. And next, we're going to talk about insulin. Insulin is a hormone which is really important to talk about because it's the hormone that is responsible for storing most of the fat on your body. Insulin is secreted in response to high blood sugar. How do we get high blood sugar? It's simple. We eat foods that spike our blood sugar, which essentially are sugar, refined sugars, and added sugars. So this could take the form of like Coca-Cola, it could take the form of any kind of sodas, packaged fruit juices, it could be added sugar into foods, it could be muffins, pastries, anything that you would find at Starbucks pretty much. All of these foods spike your blood sugar, and your body is very smart. It doesn't want you to have all that sugar in your blood because it can be very damaging to your arteries and the health of all of your vital organs. So your body secretes insulin, takes all of that sugar out of the blood, and stores it in your muscle, fat, and liver cells. So here's the thing. If you have too much insulin, all the time in your body, essentially what your body is saying is it's in storage mode. It's taking stuff out of the blood and storing it. And that's something you don't want to have happen, especially if you want to lose weight. And the other thing too is if you want, from an energy perspective, is remember, blood sugar up and down, okay? So we get a spike in blood sugar, you feel this kind of initial euphoria, but then followed by a bit of a crash or a big crash, depending on the health of your blood. When you have that big crash, you don't really feel good afterwards. You have this big slump in energy. And when that happens, what happens next? You seek out chocolate, another muffin, a bagel, a coffee, something to get that blood sugar back up so that you can kind of operate. And this is the nasty energy roller coaster. And I talk about this extensively in my book, The All Day Energy Diet, because sugar and caffeine are two big no-nos. I mean, you definitely want to get rid of those because they are very problematic. So insulin is something we want to keep at bay. There was a study done a little while ago that looked at centenarians, people who live past 100 years old. And they wanted to find out what was the most common traits or characteristic among all of these different individuals. And you may have read books like The Blue Zones, stuff like that. But what was interesting is they looked at, was it the social activity, the community? Was it the fact that they were eating a healthier diet, or they were spending more time outdoors? The major contributing, the big statistically significant variable was two things. It was the level of insulin in their blood and how responsive their body was to insulin. And that's really powerful because insulin is a very damaging hormone. If we have too high levels of it, it's going to lead to increased inflammation. And too much inflammation in the body is the foundation for all disease, okay? Dementia, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. Inflammation, along with acidity, is the root cause of all disease. If you take care of that, everything else takes care of itself. That's why the approach that I discuss in the All Day Energy Diet is so ubiquitous in terms of its effect on all aspects of your health. It gives you energy. It also helps you lose weight. It regulates your hormones. It helps blood sugar. It gives you more mental clarity. It improves liver detoxification. It reduces stiffness and achiness, and so forth and so on. And the reason for that is because it's a fundamental approach to cleaning up your body so that your body is able to heal itself and function better. Okay? So Insulin, if we have too much insulin in the body, what happens is over time, your cells stop responding to insulin. Simple analogy. If you get people that cold call you all the time, what ends up happening? You stop answering the phone, right? And that's because you know there's just, you can't, you're like, I'm not going to answer the phone anymore because this guy or this girl keeps calling me and they just want to sell me some like furnace cleaning or something. And the same thing in your body. Any hormone that is constantly knocking on the doors of your cells will eventually no longer be responded to. And with insulin, that's known as insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. Okay? And type 2 diabetes is very common in North America now. About 30% of the American population has type 2 diabetes, and it's 100% preventable and 100% reversible. Okay? Insulin, if you're having a tough time losing weight, guaranteed insulin is probably part of the problem. And there's obviously there's other hormonal issues as well, but that's something important to consider. So I just want to check in with you guys to make sure that the feed is still coming across. I just want to double check. I'm just going to ask you guys in the chat here. Just want to make sure we haven't lost anything. Okay, so we are good. Thank you, Katrina. And just your questions as we go through this stuff. So if you have issues with your browser or if the video is not showing, if it's cutting in and out, try to refresh the thyroid hormones throughout the body. So if you have a defect with that carrier, then even if you're producing enough thyroid hormone up here, so therefore we don't have enough active thyroid hormone getting to our cells. Okay. We also might have thyroid hormone can't kind of park into that receptor, and therefore it's not going to have its effect because, for instance, there we go. I think we're back. We are back. All right, we're back. So yeah, I think what the issue here is my internet connection is a little bit dodgy. So okay, I think are we back? We live? We good? Okay. Hope. Let me just see if this is going to work. Okay, so hopefully I'm back here. I don't know if this is going to last, so yeah, I'm hoping this is good to go. So, okay, so let's so talking about thyroid hormone, I just want to talk about something because obviously for the sake of time, we talked about that. So there's a lot of different touch points where things can go wrong with thyroid hormone. And what I want to get across in terms of an actionable thing you can do is gluten, so the protein found in wheat, is very problematic because gluten, the protein, actually has a very similar protein structure as our thyroid tissue. So what ends up happening, or what can happen with continued consumption of bread, pasta, cereals that contain gluten, is that the immune system can then confuse your thyroid tissue with gluten. So what ends up happening is you can develop an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's disease, which is actually So the simplest thing you can do if you have thyroid issues or if you have low thyroid hormone function is, at the very minimum, reduce your consumption of gluten. So that's the take-home message. I know this has been really choppy, and I apologize for this. We'll definitely make sure we're on a landline for the next one. But cut down the bread, cut down the gluten. It'll make a huge difference for helping your thyroid do what it's supposed to do and not mess around with having your immune system attack your own thyroid gland. So with that said, let's good to go. Testing. Are we back? Okay, so hopefully we're back and ready to rumble. Huh. Just let me make. Okay, so I think we're back, guys. We're back. Yes, I'm there. Okay, so again, I apologize for this. So what we'll do is we're just gonna finish off with some Q&As, and if my video quits for whatever reason, we just rebooted our internet to make sure that it's hopefully stable. If my internet gives out again, then I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of call it a night, just so I don't keep wasting your time. And I think that's what just happened here. So what we're gonna do is